Hello, everyone. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Today I have it's like a combination of a soul chat and also having one of my authors here with me. But this one is special. This one is very close to my heart. And I'm really excited to have Adriana with me this morning as we chat about the importance of community, creating community in your business, and also the yumminess that she's creating in her business and in the world, and just whatever also comes through. So first, welcome, Adriana. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to have this conversation.
So I wanted to start, before we even dive into stuff, I just wanted to start with this. You popped into my life like right at the time where I just completed like my first ever working with a coach. And we did a 3 months package thing. And afterwards, I was like, okay, Spirit, what's next? And I heard a clear thing like, you're done with that. You're done with that coach. And I was like, what? What am I supposed to do now? I was brand new online. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. And somehow you just kept like popping in. And I remember you were talking about networking and it just freaked me out. But it like drew me in. I was like, what is happening? So, I signed up for, I think the first one was like a networking, like learning. And then there was another one where it was about showing up, like getting out of the hiding. But I remember like all the exercises that you gave us, which was just perfect for my Virgo brain. It's like, okay, I just need to do this week. I'm going to do it. And you working with you and the community that you built from the very beginning. I mean, this was like how many years ago? And I'm still with you and I'm still growing, like working with you took me from staying in that little container, that safe container I was in, to what else is out there. Like I there's no sitting in one place. There's that space of exploration because I am in that community that you've created that nourishes me, that inspires me, that pushes me. And just being in your energy does that, So I wanted to start out with that. Like, thank you. Thank you for showing up in my life at a time where I was looking for something very specific. I was looking for a coach who could merge the physical, tangible, technical stuff and also understand spirituality because that's all that I am. And I've watched you just, oh my God, expand and grow. And every time you make that leap, I'm like, yes, we're going. Let's do this. So thank you. Thank you for being the amazing leader that you are. Like, I hope, when you listen to this, when you're choosing someone to work with, don't like, I need you to be picky. Okay. Picky because there are gold out there. And Adriana is one of them. Actually, I don't think I've met anyone else who can match you at this point. And probably it's because I'm like, I'm good. I got everything I need. I'm good right now, But thank you, Adriana. Thank you for all that you do.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And honestly, this is what it comes down to is when somebody is ready to say yes to everything they are, it's like this all-encompassing 360-degree, because that's really what we are. That's what we're doing here is we're finished denying any part of ourselves. And once we step into that, everything is wide open. That's really what it comes down to. I'm not going to deny the spiritual aspect of me. I'm not going to deny the physical. I'm not going to deny my personality, like my desires, my goals, my mission, my soul. Like, it's just about, throw it all in. Like, that's what makes this an awesome, delicious recipe because we bring all of us to it.
I also love your no BS energy. There's no sugarcoating. It's like, okay, this is where I want to be. This is where I see my soul, wanting to be and expanding. But in reality, this is where I am. And you're like, okay, are you going to like stop doing that and get on with that so you can get to where you need? Like, I love the no BS, clear, that energy is like, let's do this. It's like fire energy, but there's also that nurturing part to it. It's like, I'm taking this step. I'm very afraid, but I don't feel alone. I feel very supported in this. Like stepping out. And one of the challenges was doing a video like every day for like I was like,
Yep.
and it scared me, but it didn't feel like I was doing it by myself. I felt so supported through that process. And again, like you said, you have to say yes. When you're ready to say yes to all that you are, the right teacher, the right mentor will show up, the right support will show up for you. Yeah.
Well, and also what I want to echo back to people is if you always want your people to feel supported and safe, then the secret to that is never asking more of them than you ask of yourself. So if you're going first and you're doing it too, then that's why they don't feel alone. This is what it comes down to. Like, I won't ask you to do anything I won't do. And that's what we're doing. And this is also what gives us this, yes, we're doing this together. Yes, it's possible. This is what it looks like. I can see a model for this. And I know I can do it and add my own flair and my own thing. But that's really what it comes down to. This whole do as I say, not as I do. That's not going to work.
Exactly. So speaking of that, let's dive into community, because for as long as I've known you, you've always, like, all your programs, you build a community with it. Like, these are people that you just kind of roll with afterwards, and you get to know, and you create this delicious bond. Like this year, I can't wait to meet most of them. Hopefully I get to meet most of them, like in person. But you're so good at bringing people together, and not just any random people, like, the energy is so perfect. It's like the right type of people, and everyone just meshes so beautifully and support each other. And how do you do it? And why is that important that we talk more about this, for our businesses in the time that we're in?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, what I will say is that if this is not something that we're willing, because really that's all we have to do is be willing. If we're not willing to think in these ways and to behave in these ways, I think that the next couple of years are going to feel impossible. And it's really going to be a time of it's like this. You're going to make the cut or you're not. You're going to accelerate and elevate, or you're going to disappear and fade, and it's going to be a different route, right? Different lesson. And so why do I do this? Why do I think it's important? I have to say the best business lessons I ever had were in the years when I was not in business, in the years when I was doing something completely different. So all of my 20s, I was a volunteer overseas, and I traveled solo as a female. And I'm from this very small town, and everybody thought, like, oh my gosh, you're going to get eaten alive out in that big world, right? But what I realized is that, number one, it isn't a big, scary world when you allow yourself to know people and to be known. And this is what it comes down to. I'll never, ever forget this sense of, like, there are no strangers in the world for me. There is no, like, there's the good guys and the bad guys. And what I realized is, if I was willing to be known and I was willing to know people on a deep level, I had everything I needed. So as a volunteer in my 20s, thousands of miles from home, what I figured out is, if I made friends with the guy, that had the little market on the corner, and then I had this relationship here and this relationship here, like you said, I was not alone. I didn't feel disconnected. And there was nothing I couldn't accomplish. I could go to all those people and go, this is what I want to do for the kids at the orphanage, or I want to take this trip, or I want to accomplish this. And it all came together. And so I just pulled that in, and it was the biggest blessing that we started our business in 2009 when the real estate market had crashed. And it was not like an easy time to get started. You had to do something more than stand up straight and ask for money. And so I pulled back into my overseas days. And I just began to create this circle of 12. That number just came to me. I do love 12s because my birthday is 12. I have
very powerful birthday.
12, right? So I just decided, if I was committed, deeply committed to 12 people, I was committed to their success, I was committed to knowing what would support them, that everything would be fine, and it was. And that's what I continuously do. You know, people, they can hire me and they get stuff from me, but I know for sure they're always going to get the benefit of other relationships, other contacts, other connections. And so, like, it's like what you said, for, you know, it's gonna be 13 years in April, I've built this reputation that when you come into my space, like, you're going to be in the space of awesome people. And I think too, you know, I just want to say this out loud, is it's easy in business, no matter how spiritual we are, no matter how evolved we are, no matter how experienced we are, no matter what level of mastery we have. It's easy to get caught up in, okay, where's my next client coming from? What do I need to do to get my next client? And for me, I'm unwilling to do that. I'm unwilling to be bought. I spend like 3 or 4 hours a day intentionally connecting to the best people, the people who are here actually for my highest and best, for their highest and best, and the highest and best of all that come around them. So that it's not about, I'm good at sales. I could persuade a lot of people to work with me, but they're not going to be ideal.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we come in this space, it really comes down to trust. Do I fully believe and trust that there are people I contracted to serve in this lifetime? And if I spiritually, energetically, psychically connect with them, and I'm not willing to lower that standard for any reason, then we pull together the best.
I'm just going to let that steep. It is true. It is so true. You know, like, you've changed the way, like, how you, let me see if I can find words. The way you do business is the way that business is supposed to be done. It's about humanity. It's about being us and stepping forward as us. It's not about hiding. It's not about changing for something or wearing a mask for something. And I remember it's something that you told me about, the connection piece. You know, it's like, who do you have that you connect with on a daily or weekly basis, and you just talk about life? And I was like, wait, but that's business. Like, I had to reprogram my mind, like, because I always thought business as, what we always think business is, very dry, masculine form of business. I was like, but what we're stepping more into is so divine and so delicious and so inclusive, but also so empowering and expansive, right? I so love it. Like, the people that I'm having connections with and the support that is happening is so fluid. I don't have to try, because it's so meant to be. Like, I support them, they support me without even asking. It just kind of flows, and it's so beautiful. So beautiful. But the other aspect, even through that, is knowing about yourself, because then you can ask for what you want. Yeah. Not in a, I feel like that whole asking for what you want can feel awkward. Sometimes you're like, I don't know what to say. Well, maybe if I, sugarcoat it this way or that way, and then it gets all confused. And it's like, if you know yourself, just show up as that and ask for what you want. It doesn't have to sound rude. It doesn't have to sound this and that. Just ask for it. And then also be willing to receive from that other person, whatever it is, right? So it's a whole reprogramming of mindset.
It really is. It's like, you know what? Let's put that over there. That's like one way of doing it, but it's not really our way of doing it. It's not our favorite way of doing it. And we don't have to continue doing it just because it has been done, And I think what you said is really key. What I've noticed is, whether it was when I was a volunteer and I was trying to get, I remember when I was trying to get my 1-year residency, and my neighbor was an Albanian attorney. And I remember thinking, like, I could try to word this in a very, like, socially acceptable, polite, like, trying to, fit into all these things. Or I could just take them out to coffee and I could say, it's my desire to get a 1-year residency. This is what they're asking of me. Can you help me get there? And that's what I ended up doing. And this man, he like made a phone call while we were at coffee. His wife was there and it was done. He literally walked me to the place. We handed the papers. He had a friend who was in charge. I didn't even have to do the list of things they said. I didn't jump through any of the hoops because he had a direct contact, and I had a year residency, and it was done within like 30 minutes, right? And I think this is also what we have to realize is like, I'm going to be clear, and I'm going to ask, not in this like, oh, I'm a burden, they're going to be offended, they're going to think this, that, and that of me. Like, that's old training and teaching. No, I'm asking because I know I live in a universe that absolutely provides for me. And it's very easy. Like, everything you need is at arm's reach, right at the fingertips of all the people that are around you. It's like, well, let's just provide that for each other instead of all going off in our own little corner and trying really hard and being anything other than ourselves. And this is really key. And this is what makes the relationships and the quote unquote networking and the collaboration really perfect, is when you're committed to being yourself and I'm committed to being myself, because then that's where trust is. If I'm not sure who you really are and you're coming with something other than that, this is where on a subconscious level, we know something's off and we don't know why, but we can't fully trust it. And that leads to bad things, because then we're kind of always like, I don't know. We're trying to read between the lines, trying to figure it out. And that just takes a lot of time and energy. So it's just like, we can clean it up by just saying, listen, I'm committed to being fully myself. I want you to be fully yourself. And I would love if you would just tell me what would support you right now. I might be able to help you. I might not, but at least we're clear.
Yeah. It makes things simple. I love simplicity. Like, let's get to the point. Let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it, plain. Let's remove all of that stuff that around it. It's such a beautiful, beautiful way to build relationships and build your community. There's another thing that, you've told me plenty of wisdom. Oh my gosh, I could write a book about it. There's another thing that you said, building relationship, building your community. It's about going in service. How can I be of service to you and your community? And then building it where I feel like we've been taught to be like, okay, what can I get from you? It's a different, again, it's that mindset then, right? And it makes sense. If you're going to build a relationship with someone, you don't go in like, what can you give me? We know where that's going to end up,
Exactly. It's true. And I think that this is what we forgot, is every relationship is fundamentally the same. If you don't appreciate it when someone looks at you and all they're trying to figure out is what they can get from you, then don't do that to somebody else. Yes. Right. And it's true. Like, just as an example, I hire people because I need to fill some gap. But while I'm there and they're serving me, just as an example, like, I have this podcast booking service, right? So they book me on podcasts. They take care of all the legwork for me. So that saves me time, and that's a service to me. Yes. But I don't just go, I'm paying you, and so you do this for me. I step back every now and then and I go, what can I do for them? Yeah. Not because we have a formal agreement and payment is exchanged, but just because, hey, they're in my world, they're in my circle. So there's something more than just a transaction here. And if we can realize that every person in our life, they're not just there for the transaction. There's something deeper. And so, like, with this lady, I got on a call with her and I said, how can I serve all your clientele, all your community? I'm good at this, and this. What do you think would help them? And she was like, this definitely would. And so I do a free training, right? I'm not asking for anything in return. The minute we realize, oh, this could go so much deeper, it all begins to unfold.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something that was like coming up, had to do with community. It will come in when it's ready. It's like so much. It's like wants to flow in, but it's about human needs. There we go. Basic human needs when it comes down to it. We all want to be loved. We all want to be seen. We all want to be heard, regardless of where we are on our journey, on our expansive, on our evolution, we all have that basic needs. And if we can remember it, and you reminded me, I mean, this year, it helps that it's a personal 2 year, which is all about collaboration and networking. So it's highlighted for me huge, but you've helped me to really anchor that in, remembering regardless of who I'm talking to or who I'm looking at, and this especially is helpful when I'm looking at people who I feel like they're way, I'm like,
Let's talk about that.
It's like, are they even gonna look at me or read my message? And you help me really anchor that, like, they're still human beings. They still have a need. How can you connect with them? Yeah.
They're exactly the same. And I think this is a big missed opportunity, because what can happen is we can get in the habit of serving, about the same level or lower, right? And I think this is a big thing too. If you can blow up the hierarchy, if you can absolutely just like eliminate that lens and go, okay, that's just all nonsense, it'll help you. But like when you look at people that you hire or that you might, have this opportunity to come into connection with or circle with, and if you immediately go, what could I possibly help them with? Or they have it all made, they've got everything they need, right? And you forget that, they have Legos all over their floor. They, they put their pants one leg at a time. Like they forgot eggs at the grocery store. They got their time zone mixed up, and literally they have, every single person, the amount of money, the level of success does not eliminate the humanity, right? It's all still there. And sometimes the best way to help people that you perceive to be much further ahead of you is to actually look at the non-business aspects, right? So one of the things I tell people is the more high, achieving person that you're looking at, number one, they're not used to people giving them anything. They're not used to anyone going, hey, what can I help you with? Or just sending them a bouquet of flowers, or, asking them anything about themselves, right? And so it's like when we remember to go back to that, so much more connection can happen, because the second I think they're outside of that, then I bought into the illusion. That's basically what I've done, And the other thing that I would say too is, if we walk around with the mindset that there's certain people that I can't do anything for, there's an aspect in that we have to really question, right? No, I can actually be a blessing to every person on this planet, right? I can offer something. There's always a gift there. And actually, like you said, being open to receiving as well is something that we have to practice at. This is one story from yesterday, okay? So we were in Arizona for a week, and we are leaving the room, and about the time that we're checking out, the elevator breaks. And so there goes our whole plan for how we're going to get everything downstairs, because that means Derek's going to have to carry all the suitcases down, right? So we came up with this plan. He was going to take one and go get the truck, and me and the boys were going to push the rest of it all the way through the other end of the building where the other elevator was, right? So we look like crazy people. We've got 3 suitcases, 14 stuffed animals, 7 books, a purse, a water bottle, like you name it, we've got it, right? It's like we look crazy. So we just got started on our pilgrimage. And here comes this young man, and he looks at us like we're crazy, but also very loving. And he goes, do you need help? And for 0.7 seconds, I said no. And then I said, but that's not true. I do need help. I really need help. This is going to take us forever. We dropped you drop a stuffed animal, you pick it up, you drop a jacket, you drop it. And I looked at him and I said, yes, that would be wonderful. And his room was right there. He put all his stuff in his room, and he went on this long pilgrimage. He took everything that was excess, and he walked us all the way to the truck. And it was so fast and so easy. And I realized in that moment, if we just have a habit of saying no to support, and we have practicing, This is why our life in business feels hard, why it takes longer than it needs to, why we look like hell when we arrive. Because I can tell you, I would have been pissed off by the time I got to the church. Like, oh, you should have seen what we did, right? And instead, I was like, this nice young man helped us all the way. And we got into the truck and we were happy and calm. And we did it in 3 minutes instead of 30 minutes.
Yes.
This is what business can look like when we are willing to accept support and help. And this is why I tell people, it starts with just having like 3 people helping promote your offers, 3 people doing introductions every single month. And then you can expand that to 6 to 12 to 30 to 50 to 100. But you kind of get the idea. I just had one person's help and it made a huge difference. Yeah. Same is true for us.
I just love how you merge. Actually, it's not even emergent. It's like the truth that our business is an extension of our life. And we've kind of separated, which is why there's so much. But you can see, like, when your business is suffering, it's like it's the same principles that are not happening in life as well, right? I love how you bring those two back and you're like, hey, remember, this is about your life. And you're bringing those principles also in your business because you're dealing with human beings in both.
Well, the same. You know, one of the first things I do when someone's business is really suffering and they're feeling very frustrated, I ask them, are you accepting help from your spouse? Are you accepting help from your spouse? Or do you feel like it won't get done as well if they do it as when you do it? Do you feel resentful to your spouse or to your parents or to your sibling or whoever their closest person is? Because to the extent that we're receiving help in those core relationships in our personal life, it's to the same extent we're receiving, accepting help in our business. And it's easy to get caught in this, like, no one can do it as good as me. And I don't trust people. And if you want to get it done right, you do it yourself and all that. Yeah. Right. But it's also no fun. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's all kinds of clues for us.
Business is already, being an entrepreneur can already feel lonely, you know, and then you add on top of that, all of that mistrust, not really, you know, like all of that, it just pushes you back, you know, like, why am I not expanding, you know? And yeah.
The walls are just going up higher, thicker. And then before you know it, you know, you've walled yourself in, and guess what? Those same walls that keep us from trusting support are the same walls that separate us from the people we're here to serve. And here's the thing. I want to be real. Like, it's not like if you do this, there aren't going to be people who are jackhole jackies. There's always a jackhole jackie. Okay. Just so you know. So just no matter what you do, if you try to go it alone or you're open to community, no matter what you do, there's always going to be a jackhole jackie. And this is where I think people get caught. Just because one person acts like a jerk doesn't mean it's a bad idea to do business this way. Yeah. They're just growing, right? So this is why our commitment has to be higher and stronger than having, you know, a misbehaving person that circles around every now and then, right? It's going to happen. But if that person convinces us that we shouldn't actually, you know, care about our fellow human being, then guess what? They've won. And they pushed us backwards. And so I just want to remind people, it doesn't mean that it goes perfectly, but you will grow exponentially, and you actually have the opportunity to fulfill your soul's calling, because I can tell you right now, you're not going to fulfill your life's work all by yourself. It's not going to happen.
That's another thing that you helped me break through. It's like, stop it. Your mission is too big to think you're supposed to do it by yourself. And here am I, you know, teaching about having a divine team. And it's like, us above, so below. So I didn't come here to do this by myself, you know, but I have to be open to receiving that. I have to be open whoever wants to come in, you know, like when we have the guards up, it's like, even if they're standing right here, we would never see them. Yeah. Oh man. Thank you. What is one, I don't know if I should say advice or one step one thing that you can share with everyone that would help them begin to take the step towards expanding into that heart-led community, building a heart-led community?
You know, what I would say is the things that are running the show most are the things that we're unaware of. The things we're aware of are, you know, actually minimal. And so what I would say is pause for just a second and ask yourself, if you're not in community and you don't have people that regularly support you and offer introductions and referrals and do cross promotion, and you're really in this like, everyone who's not in my business is competition for my business. If you're in that space, just pause and ask yourself, why do I believe this? Like, where does this really scare me? Where does this hurt? Where do I feel it? What's the word? What's the belief? What's the statement? And actually let it come and be right in your face. Yeah. Let it hit you, because that's the thing that's holding you back most. Right? Yeah. So if you can get present with the thing that's got the brakes on, and you can allow yourself to feel the disappointment, the frustration, the pain, whatever it was, and then decide to even still believe in humanity, believe that there are people that are going to do it differently and work differently with you. But I think that's one of the biggest things, because when I ask people, and I can't tell you how many times I go, well, who else is promoting this for you? And they're like, they look at me like, who else is promoting this for me? Like, why would other people are going to promote my stuff?
That was me.
They're always like looking at me like I have 7 heads, right? There's something there, right? Our parents said something, a coach said something, a client said something, somebody screwed up, broke our hearts, disappointed us, betrayed us. Go there. Because while it's real, like I'm sure you're like me, like I'm not having that hold me back for the rest of my life. So get present with it and work through it and make a new decision. That's what I would say.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And, you know, like I wanted to say, I'm so excited that you're going to be writing a chapter in Oracle. You know, like you have all this wisdom, and then you also like when you work with Adriana, whether in her containers or one-on-one, the wisdom that comes through is like the physical wisdom, and also this is spiritual wisdom that flows through. And I'm really excited for people to see that side of you too, the Oracle side, that fiery Oracle that I know. So I'm really excited about your chapter in Oracle, and I just can't wait to see what and read what comes through you. Yeah.
Thank you. Me too. And I think that this is really what it comes down to is, you know, there is something that is meant to flow through all of us. And we determine how open that channel is. We really do. And this is a daily choice. This is that daily practice, that daily mastery, that daily forgiveness, that daily everything, right? And I love that you're putting together this book, because it's like, what messages are ready to come through right now? Because this is what I'm feeling right now, is either people are going to step up right now, or they're going to have to actually step out of the way. Because like you said, that fire, the same fire that purifies and destroys and cleanses, will also keep you warm and nourish you. But it really just depends on this aspect, right? Where side you fall. And, you know, there is no more, I'm not quite ready. I need a little more time. I want to figure it out. This life right now is saying, step up or step out of the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is. I mean, life is not playing anymore. It's like, you know, I feel like we've had all the past years to kind of be babied into, okay, well, maybe it's not time yet. It's okay. And now it's like, so what are we doing? You know?
Well, I'm going going to tell you what came. So I can already feel my chapter starting to flow through.
Yep.
So one of the things that I heard when I was in Arizona is this. Is like, if you hear the words coming out of your mouth, like, I'm not ready yet, or I don't know what my work is here, or I don't know what my story is. If you hear those words coming out of your mouth, it is really your responsibility to go, and when will it be? When will it be a yes? When will it be a green light? Because I'm guessing that that's the same story you've told yourself for probably 5-10 years. And now it's like, prove me wrong time, right? You can't use the same line you've been saying for the last 5 to 10 years, and you can't say it now. The universe is like, check this out. Well, how long does it take to get ready? You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, get ready. Get ready already, right? Like, at what point is it go time? Like, what the fuck are we doing dress rehearsal for an entire lifetime for, right? Like, let's do this. Let's do this. So if you hear those words come out of your mouth, check yourself. Because if you don't check yourself, I'm telling you, life will check you hard.
Absolutely. Right. Yep. It's almost, I call it like the cosmic pimp slapping. Before it was like every now and then you get that pimp slap to like redirect you. And now it's like, oh, nope. It's like, oh, okay, I remember now. Never mind.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take that step.
It's 2x4 time, like, it's not going to be this gentle, like, oh yes, it's okay, whenever, this little correction. It's like a, right?
Oh,
and the reason why, like, sometimes people don't get this, they're like, well, that doesn't seem very loving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's actually the most loving thing, because you're going to waste your whole fucking life.
Yes.
All your life on this story, on this limitation. It's the most loving thing the universe can do for you, because they're like, you're not going to be happy with the end. This is not why you came. You are blowing it. You're just spending the days, but for what? And it's the most loving thing. Sooner or later, the universe goes, not who you are, not what you came for. Get it together.
Just going to let that drop in. It is the truth. The universe has our back, and it's not just about rubbing it nicely. It's like, so what the times that we need to like redirect, it will also be there for us. I love what you just said so much. Oh, yeah. You said it so beautifully. Thank you. Do you guys feel like this energy? Can you imagine working with Adriana? If you've never worked with Adriana, whether it is one-on-one or in any of her containers or even her books, like, do you feel what I'm talking about? Like, this woman is incredible. Godsend, like just a gift to humanity, to women, because it is our time, right? So Adriana, what are you cooking up in your world lately? What is happening? Do you have a book that you are working on, that you're looking for contributors? What's coming up?
So I'm doing a lot of in-person stuff this year. So I just finished a weekend in Arizona. I'm doing one in Colorado, but I'm going to Montana. I'm going to Salt Lake City. I'm going to Scottsdale. I'm going to LA. Like, I'm doing a lot of in-person. And the reason why is because at the beginning of this year, I was given this one word, gather, right? And so that's one of the things I'm doing. And then I'm also working on the the USA Today bestselling book. And what I'm doing is bringing together people who get this concept of, hey, if I had 15, 20, 30 people circled around me and we like traveled together for a year, like, what could we accomplish? And letting down those walls and just letting this in and literally walking it out together. And of course, we become USA Today bestselling authors in the meantime, but I'm really looking for this like 20 to 30 people who go, I want to see how far we can go on that community thing.
Yes. And is that the Younger Self letters?
That's the Younger Self letters. Yes.
Whew, the first one is powerful. So I'm excited. Yeah. I still have that book next to my bed. I love it. Oh, it is a powerful book.
And the thing is it's really for the people who are more than like I'm an expert and this is what I know. It's all good and well. Like, I love expert advice, but this book is actually peeling back those layers and showing your heart. Like, when did you know you came here to change the world? When did you know you had a gift to offer? When did you know you were different, right? That's what I'm asking people to share. And so we don't wear the mask when we write the chapter. We don't wear the mask when we're in circle. We just don't wear the mask, because it's like, let's redefine what business looks like, success looks like, and people coming together to really shake it up, because that's what I'm feeling. It's the world shakers. I mean, it's already falling, right? So we're just coming and going, all right, let's just accelerate this so we can build the new, right?
Yeah. Beautiful. So if someone is interested in, writing in the book or working with you, how can they find you?
So they can check a little bit more at theyoungerselfletters.com. They can send me a private message. I'll just say, though, you've got to be audacious. You got to be bold. You got to be brave, right? You got to be ready to be loud. And all the bullshit stories, like, you've already dealt with them. And now you're like, well, heck, if I ran with 20 other wild women with their hair on fire, right?
Yes.
That's what it's about. So yeah, reach out to me. Send me a message. I'd love to talk to you.
Beautiful. And I think I have your website above. I was going to say below, but I think it's above. I will add the Younger Self Letters link also to it so that people can just click on it. My dear, as always, thank you. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for your guidance, your mentoring. Thank you for your love and your support, and for seeing me, for who I really am, and even the parts that I don't see. Thank you for reflecting that for me and showing me the way, because how you do business is how I want to do business, and how I want people around me to realize what business really is. So thank you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And until next time, have a fabulous day. Mwah. Bye.